Hey, it's Alex from Android Central. Today we're taking a look at the Sony Xperia Z3 and Z3 Compact, the latest refresh of Sony's high-end stuff. Earlier in the year we got the Z1 Compact and later the Xperia Z2, but with its late 2014 refresh, Sony's bringing its big and little phones in line with each other in terms of branding and hardware. As you'd expect, the Xperia Z3 is your full-sized Android flagship. 5.2-inch 1080p screen, slim design, enormous battery. The Compact downsizes things to a 4.6-inch panel at 720p, but with mostly the same high-end internals. Snapdragon 801 CPU at 2.5 GHz, 16 gigs of storage, and microSD slot. There is a small difference in RAM, 2 gigs on the Compact versus 3 on the Z3, but that doesn't seem to affect day-to-day use in any meaningful way. Both Z3s are as fast as you expect Android flagships to be. Aside from the obvious size difference, both of these phones look pretty similar. Sony sticking with its OmniBalance design language, which has a stylized outer trim sandwiched between two sheets of glass, and it's evolved once again to make the Z3s a little sleeker and easier to hold than their predecessors. The full-size Z3 is slimmer, lighter, and slightly narrower than the Z2, and the metal band is much more rounded this time, making it easier to one-hand. Whereas the Z1 and Z2 are rectangular, blocky, and uncomfortable, the Z3 is much nicer to hold and use. It's still a great big rectangle, but perhaps a more thoughtfully designed rectangle. And you've still got these plastic flaps covering all the various ports for water resistance, but even these have been shrunk down and streamlined. Overall, there are a lot of little changes that add up to a sleeker, more elegant design. It's a sum of many small changes in a lot of different places. By comparison, the Z3 Compact is a little more frumpy. It's slightly thicker and swaps the metal band for plastic, but Sony's managed to up the screen size and battery capacity without making it any bigger than the previous Sony Compact. Another big important change from that device is the move to real glass on the back, and that makes the Z3 Compact feel much more premium, even though you're losing the metal frame. In fact, you have to really split hairs to find any complaints about the hardware here. Both have great looking screens, markedly better than the Z2's display, with improved brightness, colour quality, and daylight visibility. The front-facing speakers are back, and while they don't sound as full as HTC's boom sound, they're more than loud enough to hear calls or notifications in your pocket, or for casual video playback. Sony's software hasn't changed dramatically this time round. It's still fairly close to vanilla Android, but there are some subtle changes across the board. The Sony launcher has adopted more of Google's design language, and looks a little bit more like the Google Now launcher. Some of the widgets have been revamped, and there's some new options here and there, like the ability to record the screen directly on the phone. Besides that, you've got the usual array of Sony apps linking into the company's various services. The Album app, which ties into Play Memories, the photo service, Walkman, which hooks into Music Unlimited for streaming, and of course Video Unlimited as well. And Sony's Movie Creator app, also available on some other Xperia phones as a download, lets you create HTC Zoe-style reels based on your photo gallery, and depending on how you use the camera, you'll get daily, weekly, or monthly highlights. PlayStation integration is something Sony's attempted to tie into its phones for a while now, to varying degrees of success, but now it's finally got what could be a killer app for PlayStation 4 owners. Launching in November, PS4 Remote Play will allow Z3 owners to stream games to their phones, or the Xperia Z3 Tablet Compact as a display. We haven't had the chance to try out Remote Play in the wild just yet, but it seemed very promising when we tried it at IFA 2014 last month. On top of all that, Sony seems to have tweaked performance and touch responsiveness across both phones. The weird fuzziness from the Z2's touchscreen is gone, and the momentary delays in certain areas like the recent apps menu have been smoothed out as well. Again, a bunch of subtle changes, but the Z3 seems faster than the small CPU bump would seem to suggest. Battery life is a big selling point for both Z3s, with Sony's marketing machinery boasting of 2-day longevity. After using both for around a week, we can tell that's no exaggeration. Even with the heaviest use, it's basically impossible to kill these phones off in under a day. It's not unusual to get 6 or 7 hours of screen on time across 18 to 20 hours of use on both devices. To put that in perspective, it's about double what we got from the Samsung Galaxy Alpha with similar usage. That's thanks in part to the gigantic fixed batteries, 3100 mAh in the big Z3, 2600 in the little one, but also thanks to the power-saving features backing them up. Stamina mode is back, letting you cut down on background data when the phone's screen is off, and there's also an ultra stamina mode to disable all but the most basic features of the phone for even longer longevity. Sony also has its own battery shaming screen, which lets you track down apps that might be misbehaving and running down your battery, which is a useful addition. Finally, the camera, the one area of the Z3 that's seen the least change over time. Sony's still using a 20.7MP Exmor RS camera, like the Z2 and the Z1, only behind a slightly wider angle lens. As a result, if you're familiar with either of the previous two Sony flagships, you'll know more or less what to expect from the Z3. It produces generally good-looking shots, even in low light with the right combination of settings, and the oversampling features let you zoom in and still get plenty of detail at 8MP. But it's hard to shift the impression that Sony's treading water here. The Z3's camera is still pretty good, but the competition has moved on more than Sony has in the past year. Sony's loadout of plug-in camera apps has continued to expand though, with new AR tricks that let you play with virtual objects on the screen, and the ability to broadcast live video to YouTube from your phone. Video is supported up to 4K as usual, though according to this ominous message when you select 4K mode, you'll only be able to record until your phone gets too hot and the camera app closes, which is not exactly ideal. So that's the Sony Xperia Z3 and Z3 Compact. Same high-end internals and software features, and amazing battery life in 2 different sizes. The full-size Z3 definitely feels like the more premium device with its metal trim and slightly slimmer bezels. But for buyers looking for a high-end phone that's more hand and pocket friendly, the Z3 Compact is the only real option right now. Either way, the Z3 and Z3 Compact are both great phones, and in the decision between them, there's really no wrong choice.